So I want to start with this article. Hello, family. That's Toye. This is the Empathy Hour, where we believe taglines are ableist. This April, something monumental is happening. Mark down your calendars because I'll be turning 29. And you know what that means. I only have 1 year left to become a famous rapper or artist or stripper before I turn 30, and then any dream I have automatically becomes cringe unk who can't let nostalgia go. Is it really like that though? But no, for real, like, is 30 too old to want to still do music or really any art? But right now we're just gonna talk about music because I feel like when I was 14 years old, that like with my arbitrary marker, right? Like if I don't see anything happening by 30. On one hand, when hip hop was created in the 70s, it was literally the product of these innovative Black and brown teens in the Bronx who rejected many of their elder societal standards, how to dress, how to behave, and maybe most importantly, whether or not art was to be revered privately or to be remixed loudly for the whole block to bump to. And that pushback does seem cyclical, even if it stems from different circumstances. Each generation of fans always seem to believe, me included, that their image of hip hop, the way hip hop raised them, is the purest, most authentic form of it, and that any other generation is either too antiquated or immature to appreciate it. That being said, the one constant still there is the youth. And at least in the aesthetics of hip hop culture, yeah, it's always been the kids in the big chair. They control the genre's sales, trends, and ultimately its future. That is, and I might catchphrase for this, that is until now. I think hip hop is once again making space to watch itself grow up. As a pound of human flesh anxiously turning into hundreds of pounds of adult flesh, I've always found real inspiration from the fact that people keep making art about their experiences past the commercially viable age of 22. Because when I was younger, it was artists who were in their 20s, older than me, writing about their experiences that helped me imagine what the next stage of my life was gonna be. So obviously, as I come up on a new decade, I'm gonna be expecting those same artists and also more artists to prep me on what to expect. So yeah, Andre, we not only need the colonoscopy bars, I might require them. My life might depend on it. This is why I'm happy that rappers like Big Crit, Kendrick Lamar, Big Sean, and Tyler the Creator are gracefully aging into midlife in front of so many fans' eyes and more visibly than ever. It's because I think there's also this maybe more general trend towards former young rappers who at whatever point have become slightly more self-aware and don't necessarily change their sound, but they do shift their perspectives. I think about rappers like Bodie James, Freddie Gibbs, and maybe even not the changing of perspectives per se, but just the success of artists like Westside Gunn and Nas just finished 6 album run with Hit Boy. Like the fact that Busta Rhymes is still making music out here,
Do we want to talk about dad rap? That's the third one we got.
Yeah.
I know FD, that was yours. You wanted to talk about dad
Yo,
rap?
because I'm told I'm working on this.
I think everybody on here is a dad except for me and Jeremy. So
it's not about actually having kids. It's about getting older with hip hop and like being unk, right? And so like I'm doing this Diddy video, and like the Diddy video got me going back to listen to Busta Rhymes. It was like my first ever favorite rapper when I was 13. That was the first CD I bought with my own money, was The Coming. And it's so funny because like it came out at the same time as AT Aliens and Fuji's The Score. And I bought The Coming. Now, The Coming is still a classic in my book.
4 years left.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It was 5 years when The Coming came out. But I'm looking, right? Busta Rhymes came out with an album last year. I didn't even know. And it's got nothing but Quavo and Young Thug and Bia and Coi Leray. And Busta, you 50.
I want to deep this like a tiny bit, And today I am wisely excited because I have a generational panel. On one side, we got the future in me and my friend Toye, whose opinion on music I hugely respect, as well as on fashion and, sometimes life in general. And in the other corner, we got the man, the myth, the famously wealthy millennial unk, FD Signifier, here to provide much needed wisdom and perspective as we attempt to construct or at least debate a working definition of an underrated but still essential subgenre of hip hop. Dad rap, father rap, second act rap, whatever you want to call it. Either way, for an hour, we're talking music, maturity, and evolving masculinity in hip hop. Like this video if you're watching it on a day that ends with Y, subscribe if you find, and before we even start, go down in the comments and let me know what is your definition of dad rap. Be creative and let me support it with examples. I'm actually interested. Like I'm gonna read all of these. And on top of that, what's your favorite dad rap album if you had to think about it? Mine is kind of vanilla. It would be 444 Jay-Z. But let me know your thoughts. I'm trying to see something. Okay, Babilla, roll the tape. So let me start here. In August 2024, music producer Ninth Wonder proposed a new adult contemporary category for rap music. A month prior, 52-year-old Common and 54-year-old producer Pete Rock had released the Auditorium Volume 1. In response to Ninth Wonder, legendary hip-hop artist Q-Tip warned on the social media platform X that hip-hop fans might be turned off by a category with adult in the name. He suggested traditional hip-hop instead, arguing that the music should all appear in one pot, lest it turn off younger listeners. Whether it's called adult contemporary or traditional hip-hop, several hip-hop legends have recently released new music that could fit into this category.
Rakim released the album? I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that. And actually, I'm gonna finish this out. In July 2024, the legendary lyricist Rakim, who's 56, released God's Network's Rebirth, his first album in 15 years. And 2 months later, 54-year-old MC Lyte released One of One, her 9th studio album. And even 56-year-old LL Cool J released The Force, his 14th studio album and his first in 11 years. So this is to say that Gen X is making hip hop. Like the unks and the aunties still make hip hop, which I think is maybe counter to the narrative that we all like passively think about hip hop with as being as a young person's game. Which brings us to today's topic on the Empathy Hour: dad rap. What is it? Why is it? Is it? Is what it is. I'm here with two very smart people about music as well as other things. To be honest, you already know one of them is FD Signifier, the man, the myth, the melanin. I don't need to give you an intro. All respect. But also then we have Toye.
I'm here. Toye, Lake Airdrop, however you like to refer to me. I'm sure almost nobody is gonna know who I am, but Tayo is the homie. I've never met FD before, but obviously, like, I know the name. I've seen the videos, I've seen the clips, I've seen the takes. You know what I'm saying? One of the people that I feel like still breathes life into like rap discourse, like hip hop discourse in the present day of you know what I'm saying, hot takes. And
I'll be trying.
Listen, man, like we came up in the blog era, so you know what I'm saying, like you still breathing life into the shit that like y'all came up on, the passion of it. So yeah, man.
One of my frat brothers and childhood friends had the illest blog of the blog era, and I just like looking back, it was called Stunting on Pros. Stunting on, like, that's how you know he was
from that. He was from that.
Right.
Yeah.
And he gave it up right as the blog era kind of like took off. And he's a high school principal now. That's dad rap for you.
That's literally the trajectory.
That's actually a bar. And on that note, I want to actually open the floor up just to get some definitions out, or just so we can get context over our own opinion. So I want to open the floor up to, I think I'll start Toye, then FD. What is dad rap to you? Like, what do you think the term is? What are you using it to signal towards?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna give like the version that like I wrote this week when I was trying to think about it, and I was hoping to, you know what I'm saying, develop it with you guys. But to me, it's rap music where the artist is intentional about maturity, about growth and development, where the focus is storytelling. And often it feels like a life update, but the subject matter is less of how much stuff have I been able to attain, and more so who have I become since the last time we spoke, or since the last time I spoke to an audience. So that's like the way I view it. And growth and development, specifically, like as a man, we think about fatherhood as almost like a second coming of age, right? Like you turn 18, get your license, you know, maybe go to college, whatever, and then you know what I'm saying, you have like becoming a father, which is almost like a second coming of age after you have like, you know, becoming like a man type of thing. It's almost like the second half of that piece. So that's the way I view it, is like almost like the completing piece of like coming of age. But you know what I'm saying, like it's still like a rough definition in my head because there's a lot of stuff that fits into it, and I'm hoping through this conversation we can kind of try and narrow it down maybe in a different type of way.
Yes, I feel differently, and so prepare to like put like an old man filter up or like a Simpsons cloud behind me or something.
All right.
So I think what Toye just described and what some of the people on the list are, that's been hip hop forever, right? Like introspective, coming of age, new beginnings, fatherhood, things like that. And so like I don't think it's useful to make a distinction of those things as dad rap, because I think those is universal. Like every other album from some of these dudes is gonna end up feeling like a Mr. Morale, or when Nas made I Am, which wasn't that good, but still, etc. To me, dad rap is two core things. Is rap music that your dad likes, and like from rappers that he listened to before he was your dad. So and there's no such thing as a dad rapper whose first album didn't come out before 2000.
Okay.
If your first album didn't come out before 2000, you can't be a dad rapper. All right. If your dad doesn't push you and say that real shit right here when it comes on, it can't be dad rap. You know, if the rapper isn't over 45, it can't be dad rap. That to me. Now, a lot of the things you're talking about are like there, but I say some of that jokingly, but also seriously, because to me, dad rap is also about perspective. So it's not just like entering into a new space. It's being far enough from a space you once were in that now you're rapping about the perspective that you have after it's over. And when I look at 444, when I look at that joint I talked about from J Electronica, and even in a negative way, Busta Rhymes, right? and like half of Nas's this Renaissance streak he went on
with
circa with Hit Boy. What was it? It was basically 2021 to 2023.
Season,
yeah. Like all those albums are about like that whole concept of the King's disease. That's him reflecting, going, look what I did. How was that possible? Why did I do all of that? Both good and bad.
No, yeah. I was gonna say,
because one quick thing, because like it's For Your Eyes Only a dad rap album.
To me, yes. And like that, like for me, like I'm kind of in the middle between yours and Toye's perspectives, I think, because I see the examples that Feek is bringing up, and I'm like, wait, those are the same the examples I use to say that dad rap is much more about the perspective piece than kind of making it like the rap equivalent of dad rock. I don't think dad rap is dad rock. I think the most important thing, like my personal definition, and we're gonna talk about it seems, but it's like you can't really contextualize the dad rap I'm thinking of without thinking of its predecessor, I guess, or like it's to Toye's point about the completing of the journey. Like, what is the actual meta for rap? Which like I'm gonna call, I need to move so my head can be here. Like bag rap, right? Like all actual like the young man's rap. What rap is from 18 to 39 is, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I gotta go get it. Oh, I've given up relationships. I've lost time with my family. I've sat my friends in the back.
I don't even
in
know
order to like.
That's dirt.
But that's dirt.
Okay.
Exactly. Like, you know, like I have behaved in a individualistic way in order to get funds. And that kayfabe, that gangster, mafioso or foot soldier kind of like attitude is what you spend the first half of your rap career doing, and then inexplicably something happens that says you need to slow down, or you go to God, you do a bit, you get a child, and that's really why dad rap feels so specific. Because it's not only just the backpack rapper who's just getting older, and as they get older, obviously they'll talk about more mature topic. It's more about the fact that within rap, because we have a persona that's so strong, eventually it must break. And it usually breaks in this specific way with black men, in which suddenly we are, to Toye's point, more intentional, but more self-reflective. To Feek's point of saying like, I rapped about, it's really more about my character has rapped about all this stuff, and now here's how I feel about it. I think about like Conway the Machine, always talking about like, here's all the illegal things that I did now while you were still in diapers. Like you guys think this is hard, but I was really there when like it was actually an epidemic. Yep, and that sentiment is elder-like, rather, I guess maybe more than daddish.
Yeah,
I
was gonna say, I don't want to take us too much on a tangent, but I had a convo super recently about who is an OG in rap, and the person on the other side of it argued that Chief Keef was OG, right? In that person's opinion, Chief Keef was an OG, and the way they explained it to me was, this person there are people who copy Chief Keef, right? There's like people who look up to him. There's people he's impacted. There's people who like, he is their North Star as an artist. And my perspective on that was, like my OGs are who FD named. In my mind, that's what I see as an OG, right? The Busters, the Nas, right? Jays. And like those people who like almost feel Snoop, people almost feel like who graduated out of the rap mainstream. Not because like they're not viable artists, right? I think sometimes that's the perspective, but I almost look at it as like they've done so much already, and also it's age, right? Like you have kids, you have a family, like your perspective has shifted. You are past being in the muck with all the young foot soldiers, like you said, right? And this kid was like, well, you can't say he has an impact, and I was like, bro, like I see Chief Keef as like an age peer of mine. He's maybe a year younger than me, right? Like I don't see these guys as anywhere near age peers of mine, and I think maybe FD's definition may fall more into like the people that I see as OGs when they do make music. That's maybe who he sees as like, that's dad rap, which is like interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to dig deeper into that, because I feel like your perspective was like something different. It was maybe like closer to kind of something we had discussed this week, but I want to dig deeper into, you know what I'm saying? This
came through with the checking box.
Yes, sir.
Atlanta. I think that's real, because and like I want you to run this back for FD, because my first thought is that, but are we just getting old? Because I think to my sister, to my sister who's a sophomore at Duke, like somebody like Chief Keef is like 20 years old as far as relevancy. Not 20, like 15.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you get off.
So FD, what I was saying was I had a convo like a few weeks ago with somebody who's like mid-20s, and the debate was basically, is Chief Keef OG? And like I was like, immediate no. Like in my brain, immediate no. Like I don't see him as an OG. And my explanation was two things. One, like just age peer wise, it's hard for me to view somebody that is close to me as an age peer as an OG. And then two, like there's people that I grew up seeing, and it's like I was very, very, not just like age, but like I've seen like it feels like they've seen the long arc of what rap has become, and they've aged out of like being in the muck with everybody else, like kind of in the middle of being considered like, is this person, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not competing with anybody as peers. They're seen as like the people that you go to almost for a coronation, if that makes sense, right? Guys like Jay, Nas, Snoop, like guys that you were naming as almost like, these are the dudes that when they spit, I'm looking at it as dad rap. That's who kind of I was considering OGs. And this dude was like, nah, man, like Chief Keef has this impact and da da da. And then he started naming like Thug and Drake and Cole. And I'm like, I don't really view those, maybe the older group of those guys, maybe some people might view them as OGs. But to me, I'm viewing like the Jays and the Nas's as OGs. So I didn't want to get us off on a tangent, but I was just what you said.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Yeah. Unk.
Yeah.
That's all it takes now.
For sure. Listen, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Aging is a beautiful thing. I got rid of my fear of getting older, man. So
yeah. And Tayo, how old are you?
28. I still.
Oh yeah, it's almost.
that shit was shame.
Almost a
I
wrap.
still got.
Almost a wrap.
I ain't know that much the youngest person in here to be super honest. So now my perspective looks like super stereotypical. But once again, I do go to the point that like me personally, because I am a cusper, like I'm more on Toye's perspective, right? Like that is because that's who I grew up. That's where, especially during the time when I feel like I was when you're at the beginning of your hip hop nerd journey, like that is what I was listening to on that school bus day in and day out, right? Like those are my OGs. But when I think about the 20-year-olds, the 19-year-olds, the ones that are technically in that prime consumer spot right now, that are doing the things that I was doing back in 14 when the blogs were still there, but they're just on Twitter now. As far as they're considered, when they're like, whoa, Chief Keef was hot in 08, 09. Like that's a long time ago. And then when you start putting it up on a family tree, you're like, oh, well, the genealogy, there's so many people that come from this person that, as far as I'm concerned, was 2 decades ago. And so this is where I do start to feel where I'm like, oh, is this what it feels like for the generations to move? So now I gotta keep a duality where I'm like, these are some people's OGs, but I'm like, to Toye's point, this feel like my age mate. I don't know what I'm gonna feel like they have achieved OG status to me.
Yeah, no, see that, and that's the thing is like, y'all are the 3rd generation to age with hip hop, but the first to age with hip hop as like an established thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so you have like that first wave of the real OG, the OGs, the people that are Nas's OGs.
Yeah.
Right. Cool Herc. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Cool Herc. That's right.
Right. Like that. Like African Mambata. Although African Mambata's. What is it? Is a kid diddler? What is it? Like I saw it on Twitter the other day. You hear about? I don't know who that is. There's a really big rapper that sounds like a little voice rapper, and he has a song. In the clip on Twitter, he ends calling a guy a pedophile, and I just thought that was the funniest thing I saw yesterday. You can go ahead and put a clip of it here so people don't think I'm crazy.
Don't let Septober be your babysitter, cause I heard that nigga was a kid diddler. Yeah, I heard that nigga was a pedophile. Circumstantially take away.
Yeah, so like there's that generation, and then there's the Nas's, the Jays, you know, the Kanyes, the Rakims, etc. Like their generation, and now like y'all are in that middle child era that J. Cole kind of signified, which is including Chief Keef, you know, all these other people. And the difference is we were aging with hip hop. We were aging with hip hop. Y'all are aging into what hip hop is. And it feels different because y'all have the perspective of like that endpoint where we didn't.
Wait. What do you mean? I'm actually a little confused on that. What do you mean we're aging into what hip hop is?
So we aged into like there was nothing there, and then we got there and became old. Mm-hmm. And you all have the perspective to see us being old with hip hop.
Yeah.
As you approach us,
Mm-hmm.
and as we get closer and closer, you're like, well, no, not yet. You know, like, you know, what do you mean Chief Keef's first album was 15, 16 years ago?
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like that. And like, and you all are also at that first point of aging out of youth, which is also like universally a unique framework and like experience, because that's unique every time, because it is a transitional phase, a life transition. And then, no shade to Gen Z, y'all's aging is different because y'all have not been allowed to. Y'all's adulthood don't look nothing like adulthood did for me and the generations before me. When I was 30, I was having my first kid. I had already owned a home for a couple of years. You know, I had X amount of degrees and a career, etc. And like, you can get maybe 2 out of those 4 as a Gen Z. But 3 or 4 of those.
For a point of clarity, both me and Toye are millennial cuspers. Just on the outside.
Just like me as a Gen X cusper.
Yeah.
But I think it's enough of both experiences where kind of what he's speaking to like is accurate, because it's basically like, I feel like, and FD, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like for y'all it was like more of like a wealth of experience because y'all was actually outside in your young adulthood, whereas like for us it's almost like maybe less of a wealth of experience and more of a wealth of information. Like it's like there's so much, it's a deluge of information that's coming, like because we're on screens media all the time, like, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's like it creates it shifts your perspective on like how you absorb things completely differently. Sometimes I think for worse, but maybe that's just me getting older. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, so this came up with me and Fantano talked. We've actually had like a couple conversations about this, because I think both of us have like this existential fear of whether or not we should, like, well, maybe me more than him, whether or not we should be more sounding an alarm and worried if that'll just make us seem like old heads.
yeah.
Because and it's funny, if you watch that interview, he kind of started to drift over to where I was more in that conversation. I had to like pull him out a little bit. Like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Here's drink. Sniff this.
I
drink
don't
this
know
tea.
all the time. I mean, like, not like I don't know. Like, I'm not on that side. But I also I don't know. I think maybe that's why, to your point about me entering the first periods of aging out or leaving youth. Maybe that's why I'm getting more interested in like the content of what dad rap has to offer, because oh crap, did I just lose my point?
Please don't.
What was I just
I was
saying?
waiting on this one. This
Yeah,
one was
like,
queuing this one up.
Yeah.
I
He
did.
was cooking.
I was.
All right, let me jump back into my.
Oh my god, I'm
the
gonna
bag I was in.
find it.
So, like, being outside, like I think that was a really good observation, that we have a wealth of experience, y'all have a wealth of information. Because like just being able to hear all the music in the heyday of my hip hop connoisseur consumption era, that meant you had to like either buy a bunch of records once upon a time, or like put in a lot of effort to catch all the streams, put them on your iPod. You know, like having a well updated iPod was a part-time job.
Yeah.
Circa 2001 to 2010.
Not gonna lie, it gave you a position in the community. Like,
Yeah, real talk. If you had
to
the
be a
playlist,
music friend,
I wanted to say, shout out to all my,
what do you have?
yeah, shout out to all my unks that was DJs or music lovers that had the big rack of CDs, burned them, put them on a USB for me when my mom wasn't buying the records. Put them on a little USB.
I got it back now. Thank you, Toye. I
go
think that the big conversation comes down to, do we, as a because this got sparked by Toye saying like instead of a wealth of experiences, it's like an overwhelm of information. Because I also think it hyper speeds some parts of hip hop that were already, I guess, part of us, but it oversaturates the market to the point that like my big question is, do we believe hip hop intrinsically is a youthful genre, or was it just a genre started by younger people? Because like that's also not really even the truth, right? Like it low-key was started by people in the like 30s.
I'm chomping at the bit. Can I just give like a quick? All right, so I think rap is sold as youthful more so than it is inherently useful, right? And I think it goes hand in hand with, it's going to be a controversial take, but I think society sells us the idea that black men expire after 25 or so, right?
Yes.
Like they sell us the idea of being like a hyper successful entrepreneur, athlete, or artist in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and people are going to stop consuming you and stop caring what you put into the world after 25. I tell my friends this all the time, because I'm trying to encourage us all to not lose hope in whatever potential we have and what we want to do in life after 25 or after 30. And I think rap goes hand in hand with that, right? Because it is like almost like the avatar for black maledom in America. At least I think a lot of people view it that way, whether consciously or subconsciously. So I think like, and I don't think this is like necessarily a big conspiracy, but I do think that because it's already a very marketable concept, like it's just picked up steam and momentum as rap has become more successful. Like it's like, oh, we can sell it this way, so we'll keep selling it this way. So I think rap is sold as a young man sport. It is marketed as a young man sport. Even when like the biggest contributors to it musically, production wise, like songwriting, like some of the biggest contributors are 30 plus. Like Jay, like was 30 plus when he started the run he was on. Kanye, arguably some of his best work, like was 30 plus. I mean, only I think his first 2 albums maybe happened.
You go back to Run DMC, not Run DMC, Public Enemy. Chuck D was like
Chuck D was in his, I think in his 30s, like when they was coming out. You know what I'm saying? So I think some of the biggest contributors have actually been older, but it's been sold to us as a young man sport. And I think because we've absorbed it that way, it makes us I think it makes it hard to have like an honest conversation about age's role in hip hop because of the way that it's sold. And I do think youth culture is a very important piece of it, but I think the way that it's sold I think the youth is sometimes oversold, even for what we're consuming as fans. Even fans who are fans of like the younger artists. I think sometimes we, because these artists don't want to admit when they turn 30, so we're still looking at everybody as young.
I think the idea of being, I mean, even myself, like as a person who's a musician, as a person who raps, who's wanted to be a rapper for a very long time, knowing that like when I was like 16, I was like, man, I'm not trying to be, or like if this shit don't pop off by 30, like I guess I'm finna be an accountant or something, or like it'd be a failure, right? And now like, niggas 2 years away from 30, but one, my perspective has shifted, but there's definitely still some inherent guilt that I don't always know where it comes from on like, oh, I don't want to start being I don't want people to know me as a rapper when I'm old. When you really deep it, rap has never been tied to age like that, which gets us back to this dad rap thing. And like I came up with this. Like that dad rap, it's less dad rap and more elder rap, right? To this idea of what Toye said, that hip hop is often marketed to black men as like, we're not gonna survive past the age of 25, right? And so I think for better or for worse, I know we meme on this a lot, but a lot of black men get their politic from rap music. Like they're not studying it, but like the things that are said in those choruses, the things that like cause that conversation, that builds your politic. And it says something when the majority of what rap music is talking about, or what we self-journalize as, is the problems of a particular type of youth, or like the lifestyle of a particular type of youth. And so I see the opportunity, but I guess I find the joy in dad rap and knowing there's life after 35 for black men. And like when you hear them speak that way, you're like, okay, like in a way that I'm just not gonna get from country, even though I'm sure they talk about the same things, or like, I'm not gonna get from rock. Like when I hear Jay talk about on like Legacy, like struggling with that thing, or like the fact that I think in Marcy Me, he says like his mom bought him bombs. Smile, where like, he engages with his mother's sexuality, knowing that like a nigga like Jay, because I know his mythos, that he's able to turn like that. I'm like, okay, cool. It's not like, even though I shouldn't need another man to tell me this, but I'm like, I can see how another man is like, okay, so it's not pussy to change with the times when like it's your own family, and it's still couched in a black masculinity that's very accessible.
Yeah. Have y'all noticed I can't remember the last time I heard the F slur in a rap song. And every time might have been Tyler.
They did not Tyler the Creator.
But every time it happens now, I'm like, oh.
it's a jump scare. Okay.
Like nigga, we still there.
Like we killed the R word. I ain't heard the R word in years. So good job on that one.
So, and I think that speaks to not just growth, right? Because like growth it's not just growth. It's genuine improvement. It's genuine like expansion, in a specific way. And there's a pride to it, because while we do on one end we do have the mythology that like black men expire at 25, But then there's also a like countervailing mythology of what it's like to be around an old black man with sense. If you like not and I'm not talking about like your uncle. I'm not talking about Shannon Sharp.
Nah.
I'm talking about you get around an old nigga with some sense. That's you. I'm getting a goosebump because I suck that shit up. I'll be like, yes, I want to
be giving you actual game.
Right. Or I just want to be in your presence to like see what this feels like because I want to like manifest that on some the secret shit.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And then cut an album. And that's why dad rap resonates when it's like I really, even though I know Jay Electronica isn't perfect, and especially as like a artist, I don't know what to make of his career. But I have came back to his album that he did in 2020 with Jay, probably more than any single. I think the only artist I've listened to more since then has been Kenny Mason, ironically on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And it's because there's something about the like the broody, contemplative nature of that whole album that gives off that elder energy. You know what I'm saying? And because with hip hop specifically, it is branded as young, but it's also cutting edge, right? It's youth movement, it's next wave, it's who's up,
it's progressive.
Freshman, right? It's progressive, yeah. And as you get older, it becomes more and more work to like keep up. It becomes more and more work to even have the desire. Like there's chunks of time in the last 10 years where I've barely listened to any new rap music. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm starting to get it now, even though I don't know if it's just like where hip hop is now. But I make fun of my barber all the time that he didn't even listen to J. Cole because he's like, they're not for the 90s, I don't listen to him. And I'm like, no, I can't listen to Another Little. I can't. I feel bad. And like, I think you said that on the Fantano thing too, or maybe on the Company Man one, whereas like you feel bad when you can't enjoy, like you don't have access to things young people have joy to. Cause like, I don't want to end up like my parents or the older people that are like, oh, I just don't get what the young people are. But now you're like, maybe you have less control, or it takes more work.
Yeah,
to keep that.
Your senses dull. Your senses dull. Your passions lower. Your testosterone ain't the same. Like there's like genuinely like I'm keeping it real. Generally speaking, you will not be the man you are at 30 at 40. And if you do have kids, or if you develop a household of some sort, or if you just are trying to get to a certain point in your career, or any particular reason, maybe your parents get sick and now you're a caretaker. As you enter, the same thing that I'm talking about with hip hop is also me in video games. I don't read no comic books no more. And like, I stopped watching, like everything that I did, like as a fan between, 6 and 35, 30, or maybe a little earlier, like all of those things begin to slowly drip feed based solely on the fact that it doesn't stimulate me like it used to get me to come back, because the ability for, like, I hate open world games, right?
Facts.
Like everybody playing Elden Ring and
hot take. I'm trying to relax. Shit. Why you like?
It's an extra job to collect all this shit in the book. Yeah. And so like if it ain't Resident Evil or Madden or Tekken, I barely played it. But this Dragon Age came out and it hit that nerve. And I'm playing it like I haven't played video games in years, or once a year, basically. I'm kind of rambling, but I'm just getting at the point that you're going through a natural process. And in 10 years, J. Cole's gonna drop an album, and it's gonna be the exact thing I'm talking about. That I had when I'm Jay Electronica,
I was just gonna say off the Jay Elect thing is like, just a point about Jay Elect, the way I'm almost looking at him and looking at his career, like that last album he dropped with Jay is almost like Jamal Crawford last game, where he had 52 points. Like you could do this at the highest level. Maybe you didn't always, you know what I'm saying? Like you wasn't Kobe,
But we
like,
gonna remember that you
we're
had
gonna
the
remember,
season.
like, bro, your peaks are as high of highs as, other than winning a chip. You know what I'm saying? You as pure the skill of doing your field. It's everybody who's in that field knows you can do it at the highest level, and we've seen you do it at the highest level. Maybe not consistently, maybe not. You didn't always have the looks everybody else did, but we're gonna remember that. So that's the way I look at Jay Elect. It's like, yeah, he had that project with Jay. That's like that 52-point game. Like, yeah, I could do this. I could do it with Jay too. We go bar for bar, and then he just disappear and kind of do his own thing. So that's almost the way I view that.
Okay. On that note, I'm sure at this point, whoever is still here, if they may be wondering, like, okay, dad rap, you know, I'm ready to be a better father. I'm finally ready to pay child support. What should I be listening to? What should I stay away from? What is the ranking of dad rap? And so we're gonna give the people what they want. And over the week, me and Toye came up with some candidates for the dad rap canon. And we'd like to your help, FD, in ranking them. And also,
all right, so you're gonna need a lot more help because how many of these have I actually listened to?
You did just spend like 3 minutes saying
first
you
off,
don't listen to no music.
All of these are disqualified. All of these disqualified except 444 because and Nas, Life is Good. Because none of these niggas older than me.
Life is Good. It's crazy.
Life is Good. Like, Life is Good, even though like I feel like he gets more dad rappy in the King's Disease era.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who the fuck is Navy Blue? Who is Getz?
You never heard of Navy Blue?
Yo,
no.
Talk to him, Toye. Listen, we gonna get to him. I didn't even put these in order,
really
but like we
don't
gonna start this in order.
I genuinely think you would like Navy Blue, but you may not have time to get into it.
I actually also really think, like, I listened to this album like based off of Toye's recommendation, and like he is actually a really good prototypical example of I'm going to end calling it dad rap, but in the elder rap or like second act rap. I don't know. We just gonna call it something. People in the comments, let us know what we should call this instead of dad rap. We accepted all nominations, but like it is such a complete project to me, talking about recovery, talking about commitment, accountability, but also like the self-reflection throughout the thing. He's like talking about how he gave up drugs, like he gave up a drug addiction and like what that felt like, but over like these dusty alchemist type beats that I think still feel really at home in the blunt rotation. And that's a hard line. That's a really hard line to toe, especially in this meta of hip hop. And you know, because of that, now I gotta, where's
the Tribe Called Quest last album? See,
you know what? To be fair, I sent you the Discord and said add your albums. I gave Gen X, the ability to be in this poll, and they did not vote.
Listen, man, the Gen X too busy raising their kids, bro. They didn't see the poll.
I'm so confused.
Why can I not? I want to make sure that's
wait. This the navy blue one, right? Because of that, this navy blue one, that's the first S tier. But now for real. All right. So Jay-Z's 444. I feel like we're all in agreement that like this is kind of a model for what most people are thinking of when we're saying. Oh,
so I struggle because I think 444 is one of the most overrated albums of the last 2 years.
That's great. That's crazy to me because y'all
underrated so many of my peers
like 4 years.
I fought so many of my age peers about this because these niggas was hype. I was like, yo, this is good, but this is just not that good. Like I get it, and that's that point I made about like how I felt when Jay Electronica dropped. That's how like I guess more normie niggas felt when this dropped. And so we still got to put it in S tier because it is I think it's the quintessential dad rap album, but I gotta put it out there that it is incredibly overrated.
I would believe now niggas do overrate this album. I just have a very vivid memory that y'all was on Twitter saying this album is trash. Why is Jay speaking like this? He sound old. Like at first, no one got it, and that's all I remember. That's why I'm shocked that now people come back and be like, wow. Because like to be fair, everybody, I think it was like Jay-Z was supposed to retire or something like for like the umpteenth time. But like you're right. It's like the way unks feel about 444, I'm sure is the way, and people react to that. It's the same way I bet people feel about me really liking For Your Eyes Only, even though nobody know that J. Cole album.
Here's the thing. I think with 444, the way it was received was people either were expecting like when Jay really raps at his best, right? Which like I don't think 444 was. However, like because there's some excellent storytelling on there. It's beautifully produced. And I think like the reception to it is like subject matter and the world that he built was so different than like the story he'd been giving us before that was I think where the positive reception came from, which I agree with, right? But I've heard Jay rap at his best, you know what I'm saying? And and also like I listen to so many other people that I'm like impressed by their rapping. Then I heard 4044 and I was like, this is a good album. Like I'll probably come back to a couple of the songs, but like I've heard this dude rap at his best. 1, 2, I've heard other, like I personally listen to other rappers who rap about this subject matter. You know what I mean? Like I spent a lot of time listening to Dom and Nipsey speak about a lot of the things that people gave Jay credit for speaking about.
Crazy, we don't got Nipsey on here. I now realize.
Yeah, the thing is, I went through his catalog and he doesn't really have one single project that's like this type of project, even though like throughout his catalog he has songs that kind of fit into that.
Okay,
like,
I hear you.
And they say I said the same thing for Dom, so I just couldn't kind of really fit them in there. But I mean, in my heart, they are dad rap. But yeah, we can move on. But I think that kind of is like that's where the gap is. It's like okay, subject matter, this is beautiful, but Jay's rapping, we've heard better. Like at least that was my perspective.
All right, next up, Big Sean's Better Me Than You, which I feel like I think that might be the newest entry. Actually, no, there's another newer entry on here.
Please put that shit in the C tier, bro. Please.
In the C tier, I didn't even do the whole. I'll probably put the name or whatever, but D is probably like not a dad rap album at all.
I've never heard this album.
I don't understand the malaise over Big Sean. Like the story of Big
so
Sean
funny.
like makes me
sad
and frustrated sometimes.
It's funny because I made that joke in my Playboy Cardi video or some video. No, I did a video about mid-tier rappers, and I made a joke that Big Sean needs more respect. And then I proceed to
disrespect Big Sean.
Yeah, then I ad-libbed the fact that I couldn't name you 5 Big Sean songs.
and I think going back to coming to this album would at least give you at least 2 cookout songs to throw on. And to be fair, maybe that's Big Sean legacy. Maybe Big Sean is forever gonna be maybe the last middle class rapper to have a big enough platform that like consistently knew his job, what he was supposed to do on the radio. But this last album, as far as like I'll call it like new masculinity, right? Or like as far as hip hop pushing that edge of what it is, what a rapper is willing to talk about or willing to personify themselves as. This album has Sean. He went to therapy. It might be a little basic. He went to therapy. He married Janae. He loved his kid. He drinking sea moss. He care about his moms.
Wait, hold on. As Gen Z and millennials, bro, are we really just talking about therapy rap? Is that what we're talking about here?
The back from therapy album.
Hey, for black men, that's where we are right now. That might be where we are right now.
Just therapy rap, not even like.
I won't say it was just therapy rap too, right?
Wait, how many of these albums have that lore though? Let's see. This 444. Mr. Do we want to give away the stuff?
I feel like we can give them.
I mean,
Kyle, I'll let.
I feel like we can start speeding through these.
I feel like Life is Good. I feel like Life is Good. Chromacopia, the Gets joint definitely is that. Mr. Morale, I feel like is that. The NBA Youngboy definitely is not that. Offset definitely is not that.
All right, so a little mix.
So it's 50-50. Sorry, so good. We can keep the tone.
Like I will put this. I might put this at like the end of a B because for a very complicated reason that makes me now put this in a C because I know I'm reaching.
Okay.
And that's the issue with Big Sean and J. Cole, but I'm not gonna put him in this right here. Is that if this is good, it's good in a bad meta. Like right now, as far as like yearly releases, I think this is one of the better releases of 2024. I do believe if I'm actually just talking about it as a fan, as a hip hop fan, like I'm not spending more than a quarter of this album. But when I tap in, I'm like, it goes with the same thing with a lot of the albums or with the 444, where I think, especially when it first came out or when I first heard it, I was more surprised and I think, what's that word? Appreciative of the fact that you could rap about some shit that I didn't think you could rap about. Because my big thing about hip hop is that hip hop has never been about sharing. It's never been about, it's not a shonen. Hip hop was never supposed to inherently be a shonen or about action. It's always actually been about making the mundane life of like poverty and working class black people more interesting. Because like selling drugs is boring. Standing on a corner is boring. Counting up shit is
not too much, officer.
That's crazy. That's crazy. What I'm saying, but like I'm saying, like that stuff is not glamorous. Right? It's not. Allegedly. That's crazy. I mean, shoot down not gonna holler, but it's like we are in Trump America.
I've seen and known a few drug dealers. It's not a lifestyle I've ever been like. As a person who had, flexible resources and options in life. I wasn't the kid that got around the drug that was like, yeah, I want to be like that. It was like, nah. That's tough. That's a trap for real.
The only thing I say about Big Sean is Big Sean was a punchline rapper in an era where punchline rappers per se were dying, right? Like you had like guys like Fab and Wayne and Pat Poose and stuff, like Cassidy, Lloyd Banks. That era was coming to an end when Big Sean came out, right? I don't want to say he's a poor man's punchline rapper, but like the internet came out and we didn't really, you know what I'm saying? We didn't really have punchline rappers. And then once we were no longer impressed by that, because then you started to have niches pop up where you had guys like Griselda who are actually excellent punchline rappers and they do that style really well, but it's a niche for the people who just love that style and that's it. Then we start to see Big Sean and we see him in a different light, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was special at a time when what he did was starting to look extinct. And then we started to realize that he's actually not that special at the thing that he does. Not that he's bad at it. Like, I think sometimes people act like he's
I actually like that read. That's a read I hadn't exactly heard before. That makes more sense with my own lived experience because I was with Griselda this afternoon. Have y'all listened to Blue Lips? This new Schoolboy Q record.
I have given it a once through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gave it a once through too, and I hope you don't remember much of it. I'm glad he said it. I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
The problem we're going to run into with me and like 50% of this list is, was I in a headspace or like workspace where I could really try to listen to it? Or did I have like a work related reason to really listen to it? Like, it was important. Like, I'm about to say something that people is going to throw people. I'm not nearly as big of a Tyler fan as I probably should be.
No,
I don't know why.
You 40? Like, it makes sense.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I should like Tyler more than I do. I like old edgelord Tyler better than like evolved, genderqueer Tyler. Like edgy, problematic Tyler. That was my shit. Goblin was my shit.
Yo said he won almost a Hops and shit. That's crazy.
Right. But then after Goblin, what was after Goblin? I didn't like that one too.
Wolf.
I fucked with Wolf.
Wolf was the last time Cherry Bomb the last time he was weird, but Wolf was the last time he was an edgelord.
When he stopped naming it after creatures, you wasn't messing with it.
Yeah. When we got when he got to Flower Boy,
you said, what is
love Igor. Yeah, I did love Igor. That's my favorite Tyler album. But everything before and after Igor until we get to Wolf, I'm just kind of ambivalent about. But I had to have an opinion on Chromacopia. Like, it was just necessary because I didn't know if I was gonna make content about it. I didn't know if I was gonna do a podcast about it. So when that dropped, just out of respect also for the effort he put in to say my album dropping, come through. I was like, I'm coming through.
We've really been lacking that sense of a directive and intention.
Yeah,
in the media landscape. Everybody too cool. And you know what? For that, because we're invoking his name. But to be fair, the reason why I actually brought this up is because this is not a dad rap album. This is not a dad rap album.
Thanks.
It's not.
And to the point before where we're like, are we just gonna call therapy speak or like just being vulnerable like dad rap?
Right.
No. right? And I did see some takes where it was like, oh, like this is his Mr. Morale, this is him, simply because he's talking about the fact that like he knocked up a girl and his relationship with his own father, that this is an album about, this is a second act album. Or this is the second part of the journey album, which it is not. This is hopefully what is more of the norm, which is just Tyler saying like, if y'all really want to know what, like, going all the way back to the beginning of this discussion, what Toye said about like rap being status updates, right? Like, if you really want the status update about what's going on, this is what I'm actually concerned about right now. I actually do have enough money and enough cars and enough clothes, so like I'm actually not rapping about that because I'm not stressed about it. I'm stressed about the fact that, bro, I really love someone, but I don't believe in monogamy. I really like myself, but I hate my hair. Like these and talking about it in ways that I still want to spin it back. And that to me, as a musician, is the most fascinating and most important part, because going back to this fact that like no matter what, music is political, or music has a message, right? The ability, I think the superpower of hip hop is the ability to get otherwise mundane messages or mundane sentiments across to people, and then like have it live with them in their own daily lives. So I guess it goes back to the fact that like, yeah, I like the idea of rap after 30, I guess, for Tyler's sake.
I just wanted to say on the point of everybody being too cool, this will be quick, is I think people just don't use their budgets the way they're supposed to, or they don't get a budget because they can't sell records, right? I think Tyler makes really interesting records, and he does well musically, and he actually uses his budget to do cool shit musically. I think niggas rather buy cars and chains. I think that's really what happens. They get the advance to buy cars and chains, right? Tyler seems to care about music, and he puts everything into music, and I think he's been rewarded for that in his career. Niggas rather buy dumb shit and then they buy their streams. Right?
It's funny because he also has cars and chains, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it rewards you, right? I think when you pour something into it, I do think like not to be like super optimistic, because you know what I'm saying, this journey doesn't always, you know what I'm saying, give everybody the same positive outcome. But I think, you know what I'm saying, Tyler is talented and has been rewarded for that talent in his career, and also pours everything into using that talent to give the world something special, right? I think some guys make their album and then kind of mail it in as far as like giving us something special. They're like, yo, like, I'm talented, y'all gonna take what I give you. And in large part, maybe they're right, but you know what I'm saying? Like I think in the long arc of history, we see who, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, Tyler comes from that like Missy Elliott school of performanship. And like after seeing her live recently, I'm like, yeah, like there used to be, and like this is where I get to my like shaking fist at the sky, when like there used to be an understanding that to be a hip-hop artist specifically with a skilled position, because you were expected to bring in the performance element and the musicality, it's like what Missy did was say, I already know I can make good production, I already know I can rap well, and because I got that so locked down, I'm finna give you guys the experience, this character, because rap at that time, to be fair, was all about fun and was all about caricature and persona building. And it seems like Tyler and maybe Doechii too, I guess it depends on what these other projects are gonna bring, are like the two last people trying to bring back character work, not just being a character all the time, but like bring back character work into
I find
the genre.
Doechii so interesting, because if Doechii were light skinned, she'd be Doja.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've been telling people for that, because like I think the only difference between them is the opinions wise, I guess I'll say, or like the way they'll want to move through the industry will be very similar. Like it's just that Doja is light skinned.
Yeah, Doja's light skinned and has this white fan base. Because Doechii's, what's interesting to Doechii is I started liking I like gay Doechii before. Like Alligator Bites is dope, but like Alligator Bites really isn't my favorite Doechii. I liked gay ballroom tease Doechii a lot more, and like it's interesting to me that she kind of like moved all of that to the side just to prove she can really rap, and it worked. And like suddenly, like Doechii was the type of rapper I wouldn't even mention around niggas, a year and a half ago, because I knew, certain niggas wouldn't. Yeah, it's like here you go again with the SJW shit, FD. Like, all right. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even mention her, but like she like that's never happened before, where a female rapper has found a bigger fan base among like traditional rap fans after coming up as a female, as a rap girly. You know what I mean? Right. So I don't know, but that's a whole nother conversation. We all track.
And I have
let's get the little
and I am like, we're gonna go off track with this. With this Schoolboy Q, I'm actually gonna put it in C behind.
I swear to God, if you put that shit next to Big Sean, my nigga. I swear to God, if you put Schoolboy Q next to Big Sean, I swear to God, I'm gonna fight you when I see you, bro.
It's for the thumbnail. It's Rage for the thumbnail. Because at the end of the day, as an elder rap album, right? Like polished production, yes. Immaculate flows, for sure. Do I think it's reflective per se? I don't know. Like the first time I listened through, I thought that's what I was getting until I to prep for this, I went to go grab lyrics, and I was like, you know what? Actually, he's kind of still in the mode right now where he's like, I'm cool with my demons. Like the self-reflection is, I see my demons and like we chilling. Like they cool for now. It's hard. And like I think that there is a perspective to that, because I think that that's honestly maybe the more interesting conversation to be having about just because it's the elder rapping don't mean that he's always, to FD's point, doesn't mean that you always gonna get the best wisdom. Difference between an unk and, you know, an unk with some common sense.
Elder.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But like they still out there.
This makes me think we missing Vince Staples one before this last.
I was literally gonna say Vince, and my hesitation with Vince, but I was like, damn, do we got too many people that aren't dads at all? Like,
no,
I already set that standard.
Why
I'm rolling with y'all.
I thought he was saying he had a daughter through one song. I think in like Black and Blue. I could be tripping, but I put Dark Times.
No, not the last one he did. I don't remember the last one he did. Too tough. I mean the one.
Not. Are you talking about self-titled, like the one that's called Vince Staples, or the one? I believe it's Vince Staples' Dark Time, and he just
Ramona Park broke my heart.
Right.
Oh my goodness, that shit. Listen, I wanted to nominate.
I ain't finished through that one yet.
Staples, and I was like, I feel like I done already dropped too many in here. That's maybe far off.
Ramona Park Broke My Heart fits this mold pretty significantly, I think.
Honestly,
because it is reflective. Now it's reflective of her youth. So I still don't think it's dad rap, because it's not rap. You know, for as the real old head in the room right now, all these niggas is qualified except Jay-Z and Nas. But
even Cole,
if we're even Cole, look, I love, you know me. I'm the only other nigga in the world that loves For Your Eyes Only. But it's not a dad rap album. It's just an introspective album.
He literally has a song called Folding Clothes where he discusses how he wants to stay in the moment.
That ain't dad
he's tired of. That's crazy.
He should. If that song was named "Going to the Doctor with You," you know what I'm saying? If that song was named "Picking Up Medication for You," like, then I'd be like, yeah, that's some dad rap shit.
He literally, you know what? I wouldn't force his point if I literally didn't already have the note on it. Like for the ultimate song, for the closer, For Your Eyes Only. What does he say? He said, "Girl, your daddy was a real nigga. Not because he was cold, not because he was further get some pussy 12 years old, not because he used to come through in the caddy on some Vogues, not because he went from bagging up them grams to serving O's. Nah, your daddy was a real nigga, not because he was hard, not because he lived the life of crime and sat behind some bars, not because he screamed fuck the law, though that was true. Your daddy was a real nigga because he loved you."
He said that to a little ass girl. And if he said that to a woman that had a grandchild for that nigga, that would be dad rap. So I'm telling you. He told that to a little girl who lost her daddy like in the last year and a half, and he was like 26. If he told that to her on her wedding day, then I'd be like, yeah, that's dad rap. That's not the same.
What happened to Progress? What happened to Progress?
How long do you have to have been a dad to make dad rap?
That's what I'm saying.
Your kids have to be darn near grown to make dad rap. Your kids, you have to have a son that might have tried to fight you.
So
most niggas don't live long enough to see their kids grown though.
First of all,
not niggas in general. I'm talking like rappers, but.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying like, all right, like, so most rap is about youth, and people are like reflecting on it, because we would be like 25 and they making like songs about the youth, right? So you're saying like, all right, now you get to like 40 and you're reflecting on having gone through fatherhood in the same way that you reflected on having gone through your youth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. To me, dad rap is about distant perspective. It's not about, so like, if you think about rap, let's take Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Jay kind of works, but not as much. But any like rap with a major like career arc, it starts out with, I'm about to make it.
Yeah.
I'm here now. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm that new nigga.
Yeah.
Right? Give me the shit or I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
Then it's Mama, I made it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All my niggas, we made it.
Right.
Right? And then dad rap is, I can't believe I made it. Damn, that was some real shit. Let me tell you how I did that.
All right.
You know? And like, to me, and don't get me wrong, For Your Eyes Only is a beautiful album, right? And like, you know, DMX has versions of maybe not DMX. He has songs that
Yeah, I was
fit
gonna
on
say,
For Your Eyes
because
Only.
listen, I be listening to those first two DMX albums. He definitely has songs that are in that mold of like, reflecting and
Right. You know, like a lot of rappers have an album in that vein, or at least songs that could fit on that soundtrack.
Yeah.
But the reason why, even though I think it's overrated, I think Jay's 444 was the quintessential dad rap album because he was the first person to like. Because the other thing is, I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you good.
Tired.
No, you good.
I've got a belly full of jollof rice.
No, you good.
Not you had the jollof rice. Crazy.
Nigerians.
You see me here?
We were so locked into the combo. We
You ain't notice? Yeah, I had to put it down. I was like, that's
Donnie,
enough
that's why he
calories.
said that's crazy.
But it was.
I bet.
He flexed.
It was. I usually go for the Niger jollof rice, but I had to take what I could get off Uber Eats. And it was good. It was good.
I'm cutting that part. I just so you know. You never said
what
that.
I was saying.
He was okay.
I was talking about. Nah, I did lose that shit.
Nah, you were talking about giving perspective, and we were talking about like dad rap having gone through fatherhood in order to be able to.
Yeah,
offer
the
that.
fact that it's being a distant perspective.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
talked about Jay.
But I was about to bring somebody else up, and that was the point. Because the thing that made 444 so special as the dad rap album is because old rappers were still rapping, have been still rapping, or whatever, right? Like old rappers are still making albums. LL Cool J is a perfect example, although he had taken a long break. But I remember LL Cool J was still trying to make like contemporary rap music, and it just sounded weird.
We remember.
You know?
We remember. We
Right.
try not to.
Busta Rhymes, same thing. Like this last album he just came out with, and like I some of it's good or at least like entertaining, but I don't like it as much as I like ELE2, even for ELE2's flaws, because ELE2 sounds like a rapper of his age and group era, and the new joint has like Rico Nasty and Offset on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It goes to the point of like, because rap is still an evolving genre, because we're not like country, right? In which like how long an artist can go, and you can kind of have a template of when Johnny Cash was old, this is how he was starting to be revered, and like with the kind of songs he started to make. And so as you get older as a hip hop artist, what do you do? And this is what I see happening to even a lot of our I guess artists from my generation, is like, do you start making C+, B- music with the youngins that show that you're still competitive, that show, hey, the fact, I'm gonna call it the Drake model, right? The idea that like, hey, I can be in a new meta and I can still at least rap as well as the new person coming up. Or do you start making your own market to say, which I think is what that article that I put up at the beginning was talking about, like, do you start making that market for 35-year-olds or, for older people and rapping about what they would like to
Probably
hear?
older than that. Can I just tell you the fucking features? I looked it up on this Busta Rhymes album from 2023. Quavo, Bia, Young Thug, some dude named Young Blue, spelled Y-U-N-G.
Yeah, we know who
B-L-E.
Young Blue is.
Okay. Coil Ray,
Stop.
The Baby and T-Pain, Burna Boy, J&R Choi,
Okay.
Gigs, Kodak Black, Moray.
But even as you say
CIE,
that, I'm like,
Trillion.
that sound like a 2016 ass album. Not like
But
artist wise, but like label
So you know
construction.
what I was gonna say is that, like, so as we talked about like a lot earlier than this, kind of like one of the main differences in generations is like how much information we're consuming, like at like a younger age. And I think also in that the perception of aging gets condensed. And here's what I mean is like before, the perception of like old, you almost used to have to turn 40 before. Like Kanye and Jay, when they turned 40 is almost when we started to see them as like old. Whereas like now, niggas hit like 29 and like the kids who are listening to rap are like, oh yeah, you out of here. So I say that to say like the rappers who have gone over 30, like I feel like your perspective of it is coming from like, yo, like these are the people that we view as elder statesmen and this is the music they're making. We're saying like, bro, the elder statesmen is almost getting younger and younger. Like when Cole makes an album, now we're viewing that as dad rap. Not necessarily because like they're that much older than us, but because the perception of that 5-year gap is much bigger than maybe what it was even 5 years ago within the dominion of hip hop, because there's so much more music and there's so much information flowing. Like right or wrong, I'm kind of trying. You know what I'm saying? Does what I'm saying make sense?
It's kind of that dilation of time thing I was talking about getting older.
Exactly.
Is that except you're like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Where you're seeing it like move, you know how the universe is expanding in all directions at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in the middle watching yourself get old and like the distance from the young people, watching older people get old, and then watching the distance from young people spread for you as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Facts.
Yeah.
All right.
And again, that's not to necessarily say it's like the right perspective, because I feel like we're still working on this definition. But I'm kind of trying to make sense of like where like our different points on this, like, you know what I'm saying?
No, that's why I think this is such an interesting and fascinating conversation. Like I still don't think are close to I mean, we're never gonna get to a definition that's gonna make everybody, especially on the internet, happy. But it's the fact that I think the music that's coming out from older hip hop artists right now can even elicit this type of conversation means that like at least it's moving the needle somehow. And so we're over an hour, and this is called the Empathy Hour. So I want to give you guys final thoughts on dad rap. Is it a thing? What would you like from it? And what do you want to tell the people about it? We'll start with Feek this time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal some of the takes from Curtis King, who I'm sorry, I never even reached out. I forgot. But because I had a lot of different opinions about dad rap, and one of his I thought was really useful and powerful in that when you think about, because I think we were talking, and like I think this is right after Dirk got arrested. And of course we know like a rapper or two has died every year for like the last 5 years, which is like that's new. Yeah. Like that's a new phenomenon with rappers. Or there's a whole other conversation with that. But he was like, he thinks it's important for old rappers to keep making music, if not just to kind of like manifest that elder like energy into the culture, to show these younger rappers that they can still like, because I remember thinking as a younger kid loving hip hop, like, what is Snoop Dogg gonna do when he get old? This nigga is scary. There was a TikTok I saw, and it was like, because my kids know who Snoop Dogg is, and then I played them some Snoop Dogg uncensored. They were like, damn. I'm like, yeah. And the TikTok was like, Snoop Dogg is a murderer and a crip. I don't know who this Uncle Snoop nigga y'all be talking about is. The Snoop Dogg I know is a murderer and a crip. Because Snoop Dogg was scary. He was the scariest. Yeah, he was the scariest rapper in the game for several years, and now he's carrying the torch at the Olympics. And I think that's useful. It's a little corny, a little cringe, right?
But I like the word useful. Yeah.
But it's useful, and it's useful for young rappers, especially those of this. I think younger rappers are closer to the reality they rap about than older rappers were. It's a Snoop Dogg was rare, who was really in the streets, who's really outside like that. That wasn't really happening with our rappers, right? They couldn't, A&Rs wasn't taking no chances like that with the real YNs of the 90s. Sorry. I got an image of like a calendar. Yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling again. This is why, like, you couldn't have me up this late after eating Tayo.
No, listen, like I literally pushed this conversation of like, yo, we need more conversations where the unks just go all just
It's
yap about
just-
music. Like
Yeah, it's
these
popular
need to
shit.
be archived.
I'm definitely, when they call me a yapper, I'm definitely yapping right now. The point is, it's good to see that transition, that space where here's the space I occupied when I was your age, and here's where I am now. Here's how I got there. I think that's valuable to everybody involved, including the elders who are looking to refined purpose in culture and the industry. That's more than just going on Math Hoppers podcast and complaining. You know what I mean?
I'm glad he said it.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I think I'll just make the point that I made with Tayo when we first spoke about this, which is that, like, I think as rap evolves and as music has evolved past the point of like being able to achieve critical mass, right? Like it used to be like the labels would mint stars and then they put them on the radio and MTV, BET, and that's what we got. And now it's like the internet has almost like decentralized fandom where you have your niches that are kind of being broken down. And I think that has actually created more room. Like I think a label like Griselda, it would have been harder for them to thrive in the specific way they are. And like even 50 years ago. You feel what I'm saying? And I think there's so much room for these niches, right? Like the super young kids have their experimental stuff and they're almost just existing on TikTok. They just got leaks. This whole artist that they whole shit is just leaks, bro. They not on. You can't find their stuff on Apple Music. People are dropping it under random names on Spotify, and that's their audience is that, right? And I think like this paradigm has allowed dad rap to start to thrive as its own, whatever we're calling this stuff. Like, and I think it's gonna allow older artists to thrive in their own way. Like, I think this paradigm is what's allowed us to like have a renewed appreciation for Nas, for example. Is because like there is a space for like the Griseldas or like a Freddie Gibbs, right? Like, and that space that's occupied by that. I think people who are older who already appreciated Nas, and then kids who maybe knew who Hit Boy was or know who Alchemist is, but weren't old enough to see Nas in his prime, to see him, whether it was Written Years or Illmatic years or Life is Good years, can now, there's like this new era of him. And because we have these niches that exist, you can now, you know what I'm saying, plant, you know what I'm saying, like your feet and say, yo, like, I'm really one of them spitters, like, right? Because Nas was one of them ones. He can rap across generations, but is there a space that exists within hip hop for him to do that? And I think when hip hop was this centralized thing where we were only trying to mint stars and all the old guys were trying to be the same type of star as the new 20-year-old, it just wasn't, the playing field didn't make sense, right? Yeah. But now there's a space for, it's almost like, I don't want to compare it to the big three because I don't think it's like that. I think it's genuinely, there is a space in the mainstream for so many different types of artists. And I think we're seeing it. And I think it's healthy. So I'm glad we're getting to have this convo because frankly, like, you used to get made fun of for certain rappers that now people are like, yo, you put me onto this. And it's like, I was just enjoying the music, bro. Like,
I was one of the earliest adopters of Childish Gambino, which is ironic because I haven't liked anything he's done since he became a real rapper. That's like,
you know, this becoming a pattern here, FD. You don't like people once they get on for real.
No,
like,
listen.
Like it's giving hipster.
Here's the thing: when dudes are trying to get on, they be rapping their ass off, and then they get on and they start trying to be pop stars. Like they not low.
I'll give you that.
It's really
Awaken My Love.
So that's part of it. Yeah, like when I thought because the internet was okay. Mm-hmm. He had a mixtape either before or after that was like
Stone Mountain.
That's off the chain. Stone Mountain, yeah. And then he had like a mixtape before that. Then he has like all his incel albums, which, you know, I enjoyed at the time. He has some moments in them.
Listen,
just got like us leaning into calling them incel albums. It's just so crazy.
Who did I get that from? And that might have been, shout out to Hero.
Oh, you're so right. Yeah.
I gotta give him props for that because that's the first person I heard call them incel bars.
Right. He put Logic in that category too, or no? I'm just asking.
I never heard enough Logic to call him incel.
Like, is he even worth discussing?
Is he worth like?
Now, what I will say, y'all didn't like because of the internet because y'all weren't the age y'all needed to be in 2013 when it came out. I
liked because of the internet, bro. But it's like once you get to that point where you're trying to like you're trying to make the radio records, and then you keep going beyond that point, like it stops being for me anymore. That don't mean you're bad. It just stops being for me. And I just find new stuff that I'm interested in. But I don't necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I just hated his, like, I was already like drifting after because of the internet, because I felt like it wasn't what I got off mixtape Childish Gambino. Yeah. But Awaken My Love, I found offensive.
Really? I thought
I
That
I
shit-
think that's why I defer, because you're older and you probably understand.
and so
what the,
for
what
me,
the parody
like-
was.
He was
Yeah,
really,
like,
he was really
as
outside
a-
when those records was.
Yeah, as a kid that grew up hearing Gil Scott Heron in the background,
Yeah.
I called it gentrified funk. Like it just felt like it felt like him imitating what we both, because I'm probably his age, we both heard that growing up while our mama was cleaning the house.
But is he not supposed to do that though? Like, is that
He
not
gotta
something
do
he
it
has
better than
access?
he did. I can't hear him make. You can't make funk soul music about your Asian girlfriend and have me like not side out of shit. like, I'm sorry. Like I can't. I just,
Awaken My Love, y'all. Not a dad rap album. You heard it here.
You know.
All right. On that note, I know we just rambling, but thank you both for coming on. This has been the Empathy Hour episode. I'm gonna put it up here. I think it's 4 though, or 5. But we gonna catch you guys in 2 weeks, hopefully. And as always, be kind.